Okay, we're learning Mishivas Nefesh, Pei Hey, has actually relevance to Purim. Amr Rabbi Seidazal, Kach Hudakosh Leitzahara. Our sages said, this is the way of the Yitzhahara. Hayayim, Amalai, Asay Kach. One day he says, do this. Shazeh B'ches Aver, G'er Saver. After the one thing, there's another thing. Siv Hoi, Moishcha Avon, B'chavle Hashov. Woe, the one who's drawn to sin with the worthless chavalim of ropes that lead to nothing, basically, tie a person to do things that are meaningless and negative. A person who is with the Yitzhara all the time, from when he's young, we might think it's no chance, no hope. Moshe goes like he says, the Fanik Minora Avdo. The Fanik means to pamper. He pampers for a person's youth. His servant, from his youth, that's what we are. Person becomes very, very pampered, very used to certain things, and he feels like he can't possibly go without them. So if I can't go without them, so what am I supposed to do? I have no choice. Like Kochai likes to say, person says, he says the Kli Cheres, Shvirosam, the Tarosam, they're good to break them in order to be retired them. He says the Yitzhahara says, I'm going to, he says, listen, you can do this mitzvah, you cannot do severe, but you should know you're going to die. Forget about it, you have no hope, and that's the end of it. So it's literally, it's the end of your life. This idea of being a person being so funak, he feels so pampered in this way, he just can't get over it. He can't get over it, he can't look over it, because he thinks it's literally life and death. That's how he feels. He gets so completely hyper-focused on whatever the negative behavior is, he says, I can't do without this. He doesn't realize that he's really chasing this behavior. And to the contrary, if he only let go of it, he'd be a lot better off. But there's no such thing as there's no hope. Even though one would think, wow, how's this person going to get out of this? How could you possibly leave this situation? But Hashem has Rachmanas on us every generation. Hashem thinks thoughts. He has very deep plans. We shouldn't lose even one drop. Nothing. That's what Rashi explains. A person has many thoughts in his mind. And so the counsel of Hashem is going to be what's going to stand. Hashem, you can have this thought and that thought, another thought. Hashem is going to do what He wants to do. Hashem is going to has His own plan. And it's our job to do our best to connect to Him and to cooperate that we should get to where we need to go. That's our job. So Hashem doesn't want to lose anyone, nobody. He helps, He gives tremendous help from above, through the tzaddikim of the generation, through the righteous, the great tzaddikim. From the aspect of Mordechai, these tzaddikim, they know what every person is experiencing. They know what's going over every person. They understand. It's amazing with the Rebbe. Someone came to see the Rebbe. See if I remember how it goes. If I'm not making a mistake. Someone came as they were going. He was thinking, "But do you think the Rebbe really knows thoughts?" The Rebbe said to him something like, "You think of thoughts?" Something like that. He knew right away. He could tell. He read him. Like people are because the people on a level. And then the person says, "Why? He knows thoughts." So he said, "No, but you can tell on a person's face and the way his movement. You can tell what he's thinking. He sees no here's we think she's baruch. He calmed down. No, that's pretty good." And he left. He said, "How do you convince me of that? It's ridiculous. How could you possibly? That's even more American. Like you told me, what do you want? You can tell somehow. They're going to tell him that." So that's what we're talking about. Tzaddik here. He knows what's going on. So Mordechai knew everything that was going on. Every Jew is ups and downs. What's going through? What's going over him? They around, they help every Jew do tshuva. an aspect of you went out in the city. You should sorry. Oh, sure. So, so the tzaddik, two things we see. He really knows what's going on in every person. That's what we're talking about. Even now, yeah. That's the thing. The question is, in Breslov there was a dispute, and what does Rav Nosson mean when he writes this? Does he mean Rabbi Nachman, but he doesn't want to be too explicit in this lesson? Does he mean...
What did he say?
He says the true tzaddikim. No, but you see, if we do a study of it, if you learn Likutei Halachos, you will see that there are, I won't call them steers, not exactly contradictions, but there are completely different ways that he expresses himself, which is very interesting. I once heard someone claim that, and maybe even both sides claim this, it's very interesting, that Rav Nosson, he had to be very careful. It's clear from the letters, it's clear from what he writes, that he had to be very careful if people got a hold of something that looked as too hyper-focused on Rabbi Nachman or something, he was in trouble. So he could get in trouble for it. Here he's a Messianic Jew, they can tell him the government, there were problems, he could make two troubles. So he hid what he had to say one way or the other way. But it's very interesting trying to work out what he meant. It's not so simple because there are literally different languages. One place he says, but there are different ways. We once started a while back, I don't know, months ago. Okay, so I'm just saying that we see two things, whatever this means, there's two things a person has to have. Number one, he has to really know what goes over a person, and number two, he has to rouse him to tshuva, and to cry to Hashem with their whole heart. If one or the other is missing, that's not what he's talking about here. It's very clear.
Wait, what is it?
He says, the tzaddik, we read it again if you want, but he says, the prince of Mordechai yodea shebekol asher nasa, he says, Mordechai knew yodea shebekol asher nasa. Mordechai knew everything. So he said, whoever this tzaddik is, you want to say something today, fine, he has to really know what's going on. He doesn't even tell you what you're going through. Not that you tell him and he knows. He's supposed to know on his own, and he's supposed to be able to arouse you to tshuva also on his own.
Okay, but you said that the Rebbe knew this person's stuff.
No, Rabbeinu.
Right.
Rabbi Nachman, yes. But the question is, some people would say, this comes up a lot. Like I said, maybe, I don't know about next, though we're trying to go through Otzar Yira, now we're doing Meshivas Nefesh, but there are different other topics, many other beautiful topics in the Likutei Halachos and Likutei Halachos from Otzar Yira, the third section of Otzar Yira, which is very long, very beautiful work we're trying to go through. Maybe we'll start to run through Tzaddik. We learn through Tzaddik. A lot of people are confused about what Tzaddik is anyway, and what the sources are anyway. But if we actually do that, so then we'll try to reconcile, we'll see the different languages of Nosson. It'll be very, very interesting, because there's different, he says, there's one Talmud, he says, there's two Talmudim, he says it gets very unclear. Is it Rei Nachman? There's some places it seems like he means Rei Nachman. So then it's like, places like this, it's like, just tzaddik never generation, what? Like, that's what his man says. The great tzaddikim amitim, right? Hashem has rachmanas every generation through the great tzaddikim amitim. Who is that? That's Rei Nachman? Who is that?
It has to include it,
no? No, includes him fine, but the question is, what does it mean though? What am I looking for a tzaddik now? Am I just learning Rei Nachman's works and trying to get inspired, connected that way from the Talmidim, and not that every Talmud is a tzaddik, but that we sort of connect? What do we do? And Bechlal, this whole idea of connecting to a tzaddik needs a long discussion. What does it mean exactly? So we don't really need to understand. We just say, okay, whatever that means, that's what I want to do. Great. But there's a lot of very deep, what does it mean connecting to a tzaddik? What does it help you to connect to a tzaddik? You're on the team, I'm on the right team. What does it mean? Like, it's very strange. We should discuss it, I don't know. But actually, yeah, there's a whole long, interesting thing. All I can say is that the Ari has a bechina of connecting one's ruach to the tzaddik. That's what he has. The person goes to the kever of a tzaddik, he says, and he connects his ruach to a tzaddik's ruach. So you see there's such a thing, the Ari had such a thing. And it's very, very interesting working out what it means and how it means. You're going to know something, one finds that there are...
It's like very fundamental.
That's why maybe we should even talk about it now. We'll sort of take a little 2-minute break or something, or a minute break, we'll talk right now, then we'll continue with the chizik. Maybe we should. But actually, yeah. But the question, what does it mean, is in the... So the Arizal explains that there's something called Ibur. Someone went to Chazon Ish one time. And he said, we spoke this once, I think, but he went to Chazon Ish and he said, you know, I've been kollel for many years, and learning is going wonderful. I'm steiging, going up and up, wonderful, wonderful. Davening, very hard. I go to minyan 3 times a day, and I try, it doesn't happen. Doesn't work. Can't daven like I want to. I want to better with daven. It's not happening. So Chazon Ish said, well, if you're trying so many years, many years, and you're not getting any breakthrough whatsoever, really, he said, probably, you guys realize he's not faking himself. He's learning, he's trying. Presumably, your aspect, your job, what you need to rectify isn't so much tefillah. Of course, you need to keep the Shulchan, you need to go to Minyan 3 times a day, you need to continue davening, but you don't have to worry about it. Try to make some effort, you don't have to worry about it. But if you keep forcing yourself and pushing yourself, even though it's hard, eventually you'll merit what the Mekubalim call ibur. Ibur literally means to be impregnated or filled up with something. So this ibur means that you'll have an neshama of a tzaddik will cleave to you and it will become your bechir. That's what the Chazon Ish said. So that's the element, that's what we're trying to achieve. In terms of tzaddikim, there's also another point, the Kamarna. The Kamarna also explains, he says, we learn Shas, we see a lot of names. Name, this one, this. No, it's this Moshe, that one, Moshe, this Moshe, that one. So Pashtus, why do you know these names? Pashtus, the Rishon makes
So you could cut Shaz in like 20%.
No, that's no mamash.
20% shorter.
Exactly. So Pashtus, what do we? So it shows us, it repeats to us how much careful they were in Masorah, if they weren't clear, they wrote it. And maybe the halach is like one or the other, so if you know how the halach is, you know how to work out who's who and what to work out. But nevertheless, you say, okay, so bracket them, won't skip them. Skip them, right? I mean, it's such a long time, you just work so hard to get a time, you have to know all the names. And we never, can you make a scene where we skip all the names of the Gemara? Mistama, no. Even if you have the main names, any like more than one name, like kind of, you can't do that. You can't skip all like, presumably you can't. Certainly not, so you certainly shouldn't do it that way. So there's a mice with the Regina. The regime. One time he was talking with Misnagid, the Chassidus about something, and Misnagid quoted the Gemara. He said, this so-and-so said. So the Regina said it wasn't him, it was someone else. So he said, I just learned this Gemara, I'm telling you. He said, take out a Gemara, take out a Gemara. He said, no, you're right, man. You got the name wrong. How come you remember it? I learned it the other day. How come you remember the name? I don't remember the name. He said, because for me, the name is also Torah. And for you, it's only that's not really the Nakuda. The Kamara explains, he said, very interesting. He says, when you say the teaching of Tzaddik, the Gemara says, his lips move in the grave. Someone actually asked, does that literally mean we can check them more? He said, it means spiritually. It's kind of obvious. I was surprised to see this question. But it means spiritually. So the Inyan is like this. The Inyan is like this. The Gemara also brings the Gemara, the Yushalmi, famous Yushalmi, that a person is supposed to have in mind, put before your imagination, imagine Baal Hashmua, the one who gave over the teaching. That was the Gemara said in this college. Again, the question is, what does that mean? Do they have red hair? And you don't know. We don't have any idea how they look. Like, if you learn someone that was very, very heavy, we should think, oh, he was some heavy guy. Like, what's the Indian? We don't have that many details. Oh, he was tall. He was this. He was that. He was short. Like, that's going to help you? I mean, it's hard to understand. So the Gemara says a Mordecai thing. He says it doesn't mean what you think it means. And he said that all these names also explains what they're about in an incredibly beautiful way. The Gemara there in Shkol, the Yushalmi says Mordecai thing. He says, every name. He said every man the Omer, if it's a Moira, if it's a Tana, every man the Omer, the Gemara built a heichel, a heavenly palatial place, palace, very special place, which reveals his pathway. So that's what they all did. That's what everyone did. Each one did. He said, and that's the idea of you have this one said B'Shem, this one said B'Shem. So you're going in through different ways, different pathways, different connections. This one B'Shem. Then no, it's this way, it's that way. So it's all part of the Gemara. It's all because you were getting access to different, very, very elevated spiritual realms. So when a person says the name, it says you can get into the different, that's also like seeing, it's like focusing on the ruchnius, on the spiritual content, what the person they revealed into the world. They revealed something in the world that stays there, it's here. And Abai and Rabbi they brought something into the world. So that's what we're trying to do when we kasher to a tzaddik. That's this idea, that's this from every also. A person wants to get an ibur from a tzaddik, he wants to be connected. He wants to have a connection, it's a little spark in the soul of the tzaddik, and then suddenly things start going differently. That's what we want. That's what we're trying to do. That's the idea of being miskasher to a tzaddik. So this, for example, here we can certainly read it simply. Tzadiki hador. What does that mean? Tzadiki hador agdol hamitim. Before he said it means only earlier tzadikim. It means now. You could try to say it means now. He said every generation he gives tzadikim, right? Yeah, sounds like maybe even in the generation it's not clear here. There are many times where the language is not so clear. Anyway, whichever way you go, whether it's tzaddikim now, tzaddikim, if you want to say tzaddikim now, that's fine, but you have to know that he gives very clear criteria. So we're getting back to the piece. The criteria are, first of all, number one, a tzaddik who is, this tzaddik is a person who knows what's going over another person without being told. And number two is he knows how to inspire the person to cry out to Hashem with the deepest depths of his heart. In a way that's not going to break him, but it's going to uplift him. That's what he said so far. Right? Mordechai then, number three. First of all, he knows what's going on. Second of all, he inspires you to cry out. And third of all, he gives you the strength never to give up. He tells Esther is us. We're Esther. Esther is a person who feels very, very distant from Hashem. He's in a distant place. He has nothing not revealed. That's Esther. He tells Esther, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep crying out. Keep trying. What should Esther do? Go before the king. Who's the king in Megillah Esther? The king in Megillah Esther, Gemara says, even though it means Pasha Hashem, is Hashem. It says the Melech is Hashem. Go before Hashem. Go before Hashem. And how do you go before Hashem? Even though you're so far that what? It's 30 days since we've been called to Hashem. It says she hasn't been called 30 days. Like we say in Tishlavana, even one time is enough. It sounds like at least one time. At least one time. And this person is so far, he's got no connection, totally disconnected. The person has to keep knocking on the doors of mercy. Maybe Hashem will have Rahmanis, maybe he'll be merciful. Receives the understanding of the true tzaddik. I'm going to go to the king, even though it's not proper, not according to the rules. I don't have it right anymore. Should have lost any possible merit. Doesn't matter. Go anyway. V'dashim says out. Our sages say in Megillah Shaloi Chadash Shel Torah. According to Torah also, you shouldn't go to the king. What? You're not on the level. Nevertheless, right? Nevertheless. כי אני יודע בעצמי שעל פי דעת של תורה בוודאי אינני רואי לבוא לפני המלך ולהתפלל לפניו כפי מה שאני יודע חותם על רבנו ישראל. I know that according to my sins and the continuous mistakes and slips, I'm really not worthy to turn to the king. I'm not worthy to come to the king. I'm not worthy to go before the king. I have no right. So nevertheless, I'll go even though it's not proper. Even if I lose out, I'm destroyed, I'm lost. Even if Hashem, maybe He won't pay attention to my tefillahs and my spoilers because of all the things, the times I ruined and I messed up. I lost. Hashem will do whatever He wants. We keep crying out and hoping that Hashem may have Rahmanis. So that, through this, that a person turns to Hashem again and again, even though he doesn't feel like he has any right, even though he says, really, it's true, I really have no right to turn to Hashem. I have no right. I have no schus. How can I turn to Hashem? How can I go turn to Hashem? After I did all these things, what? I'm gonna not turn to Hashem. Hashem, that's what brings us to Hashem. That's one of the many messages of Purim, is that we have to keep, even if everything seems worse, a person's in Haman's grasp, nevertheless, turn to the king, even though it's not proper, everything will change. All that's what we said before, is the person is caught. That's his mechin of Haman, where a person has a word, he feels like he's being hanged. 50th, he says the nudge, the 50 Amos, he prepared for Mordechai. a gallows 50 amos high. It's only 50 amos and 50 sharim of tumah. Person's the Torah wants to grab him on that. These many he ropes him in. He wants to rope him in until he's caught. He can't get out ever. Chas v'shalom. So then that's the beginning of Yeshua. Nelson says. So the person says, "No, I'm not giving up no matter what." And then Haman is killed. That's how you do with Haman. Yeah, the Yoshit Hamelech le'efter Shabbat Hazov. The king stretched out his scepter. Possessor ha'har v'eskavas Hashem's barach. Shuvon magia shmagia from the Adam and This is the secret of illumination and the closest to Hashem, which comes at times to even a person who's very, very small, very, very, very on a low level. Hashem sends him closeness from far. The aspect of that, he stretches out the scepter. Chazal say that the scepter stretched, reached after. How to reach it? Couldn't possibly reach it, and it didn't, because it stretched out miraculously. This is the aspect where we don't deserve it, and Hashem sends us a message from on high. Sometimes a person gets his messages on high, and then he starts to get high. He starts to get to a place where he thinks, I got this message, I'm higher than everybody else, I'm this and that. So really, it's the opposite. Hashem has Rahmanas on him. He's really trying. But, like, Hashem has Rahmanas on me. So it's not coming to me. I'm not on this level. I want to be, but I'm not there. The person says, I have it in my pocket, that's it, so I'm there. And this is a very big error. We have to know, no, it's all just from Hashem. You're not going to tell us about Midas. He says, sometimes a person, the Yetzer Hara has a mahalach. The Yetzer Hara has this way of dealing with a person, where he'll give someone a bracha, or he'll daven for someone, I don't know what will happen. And he says, let this exactly what the person says happen. Why? Because I don't think he's a tzaddik. For pajamas, start asking for pajamas, I don't know, whatever he'll do. He's on the level, that's it. See? It worked. He's right, it worked. Only to trick you and to mess you. That's no reason why it worked. It's all nisim, I'm very far, it's all sudden, just sudden. All sudden. Hashem's giving me an aura because he has a chonas on me. It has nothing to do with me. I have to keep trying to him, keep trying. Not to think I'm there. Hashem's just shining into me it's not a miracle, giving me a miracle, giving me another chance to wake myself up, to be revived. That's a time that is, even a person is very far from Hashem, but listen to the tzaddik who doesn't give up on himself, but again, it doesn't mean pick himself above everybody else. Like, no matter what, again, this lashon, no matter what, who makes us nafshu b'dil gavay b'shbarach, he totally nullifies himself to Hashem. He says, I am nothing. He chose Hashem. Ain't no bother, really, really, completely. He goes before the King of the world to plead with him. That Hashem has a chonas on him, has mercy on him. Shines to him in wondrous illumination from very far. Shines into him very, very high das, which is from a very, very, very elevated yira. This element of yira. This element of yira is this aspect again of waking up and realizing that what I do counts, and that I have to be careful. I have to be careful with my actions. I have to be careful with my actions. I can't just do nothing. So even a far person will merit this complete yira where he doesn't feel depressed or down because of his yira, but his yira makes him do whatever he can, and value whatever I do, value whatever I've done. His yira in das, he wants to have yira with das, with understanding. Yira with understanding that what I do really matters, so I have to chaperayim, not yira in a way that person says, I'm so depressed, I want to have yira shemayim. I'm telling you, when I started having yira shemayim, that was the end of me. It ruined my life. Person says, no, yira shemayim has to be something that's simcha, yira l'chanech, has to bring from the pasuk mishnah. Yira with vitality, that's what the yira is about. So that's how a person comes close to Hashem. In truth, when he has yira l'chaim, when he has yira shemayim, in a good way, in a proper way, to know that Hashem is going to take care of him. He has to know, even if I feel like Hashem like Esther felt, I feel like it's going to go for nothing, I have no merit, it's over, it's never over, that's no such thing. And if you keep trying, no matter what, you're going to get what you need to get. That's the idea of Esther again, a person, she kept trying, she went in, she wasn't called for 30 days, went in, The king took care of her, drew her clothes, and that was the issue that killed off Haman. That's our job. Our job is to deal with this Haman character. Haman is very, very different. Haman is in every person. The Gemara says Haman is Haman eats. Hashem says to Adam, did you eat from the tree? This eating from this tree, all these stigmas, that's what Haman is. We have to deal with this. Everyone has a problem with Haman. The Gemara. So every person has his problems. So how do I deal with my problems? The way I deal with my problems is by keep on trying. No matter what, even though it seems like it's impossible and it's imbalance, there's no way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's only what one thinks. It's only what one feels, but the feeling doesn't prove anything. Just because a person feels it doesn't mean anything at all. He has to know this is how it works. This again, he's taking the advice of Tzaddikim Amitim. This is one of the elements, no matter how you hold, whether you hold it Tzaddikim this generation, whether you hold it's very Nachman, or whatever it is, whatever you're tzaddik, how, and what you need Tzaddikim for. So again, a different, very long discussion. All I can say is that there are so many, as Rav Koenig says in Chai Nefesh, there are so many sources for tzaddik from the Gemara to the Midrash, and to the Zohar Kodesh, to the Rishonim, to the Achronim, that anyone who denies this concept is simply ignorant. That's all it comes down to. You might know a lot of Shulchan Aruch, you might know a lot, but in terms of the deeper Smarim, and just even Gemaras and knowing what they mean, like what Rebbe Kiva brings, what this one brings, what that one brings, the person simply is ignorant. He just doesn't know what it's about. This is so simply he just doesn't know, so he doesn't know. He needs to learn, not to say, oh, this doesn't exist. It's a joke. But a Gemara, what does that mean? What do you need mayor for? What do you need mayor for? So you can make up a reason maybe, but there are reasons. Rav Koenig brings a reason on the other side. Moshe brings both of them come out. You see this incredible what the Gemara is written. Wow. You say, wow, yeah, without saying mayor, it wouldn't work. Just saying, God help me, that guy would never have gotten through it. And the mayor gave him a miracle, this whole story. Without, you know, like I said, if we learn tzaddik, it'll come up. That's one of the things. Without saying the kadar me'anini, he would have no chance. Finished. He's not on the level. Saying the kadar me'anini, I'll say, why? That's again, many. It's not one source. It's so many. If Koenig writes out, just writing shooting off a few sources, but literally there are 100. I think there's no end to what you could write. Right, without an end source, at the source, from before Chassidus, not even Chassidus, just. Everyone, this is a concept which is the whole world rests on Nuchinina Dosa, the Gemara, the Shabbat Chai, the whole world, on me and my son, only me, all these incredible statements in the Gemara. So you see, well, tzaddikim, that's what you need. Without tzaddikim, there's no chance. That's what we see in the Gemara all over the place. Anyway, actually, Hashem Zoche to trust the tzaddikim, however you want to look at it, whoever they are, whoever they may be. Trust the tzaddikim and say, okay, they say don't give up, not giving up. And keep moving until Hashem helps and stretches out His scepter and uplifts us, even though we don't serve it.